Hello, this is Y from Tenri-O-no-Mikoto Church. This time, as you can see in the thumbnail, I would like to think about an endless source of joy. This phrase, an endless source of joy, is a quote from Reverend Yoshio Ueda's following writings. This body that one borrows from God the Parent receives the 10 aspects of God's complete providence, such as fire, water, and wind. Thanks to that, one can drink water and savor the taste. Thinking of this blessing of a thing borrowed every day is a source of endless joy. A quote from the Teachings of Oyasama Glossary, page 27. Translation by Google and Y. Up until now, my main focus has been put onto that the truth of a thing lent, a thing borrowed, equals to a source of endless joy. This time though, I have rather realized that thinking about the blessing is more, or the most important matter. Reverend Ueda says, thinking of this blessing of a thing borrowed every day is a source of endless joy. So I too would like to think of the blessing of a thing borrowed every day. Thereby joy will spring forth from the source of endless joy. A caution is that my personal interpretations are included. In the concluding paragraph of Path to the Completion of the Service that was serialized on Michinotomo magazine from April 2010 through March 2011, Reverend Ueda wrote, "First of all, let us start cleaning our hearts through implementing the teachings as in sweeping away evils. Please save us, Tenri-O-no-Mikoto, and pray for the happiness of others while putting ourselves in their places." And as taught in the second section of the service, husband and wife together deeply appreciate and settle in our hearts the blessings of a thing borrowed, which continues to this day from the beginning. Then, if we convey even a single word of this to others and administer the sasuke, the hearts of all mankind will be equally purified. Translation by Google and Y. So, Reverend Ueda teaches referring to the section 1 through 3 of Mikagura Uta. He also states that when we live peacefully every day, we tend to forget about it. That is why we perform the service with all our hearts every day. Every time we perform the service, we would like to thank God for a body we borrow from God. If we do so, we will naturally find gratitude in our daily life. If we do the service with all our heart, the power of the service will change our normal state of mind. It is a wonderful power that the service has. The Teaching of Oyasama, page 22, translation by Google and Y. I really think so too. When we are in peace or good health, we don't think anything of it. But if something happens or we become ill, we then realize and appreciate the lost peace and health. It seems to be the natural course of life for most of us. I would also like to think of the blessing that I borrow my body from God and thank God for it. And in order to receive the wonderful power of the service, I would like to perform it with all my heart. The following is also from the book The Teachings of Oyasama, page 22. This teaching that the body is a thing lent from God and the thing we borrow from God is the teaching that Oyasama heard from God the Parent during the first year after Oyasama became the shrine of Tsukihi, God the Parent, according to the writings of the first Shinbashira. This also applies to us as the following Ofudesaki verse suggests. So long as you remain unknowing that the body is a thing borrowed, you can understand nothing at all. So God tells us, this teaching is something to be settled foremost. If I may sum up about a thing lent, a thing borrowed so far, thinking of the blessing of a thing lent is an endless source of joy. First and foremost teaching to be borne in mind. In Kakisage we read, now with human beings, the body is a thing lent by God, a thing borrowed. The mind alone is yours. These words of God comes right after the following words. As I teach you the truth for a lifetime, you must listen and understand well. Also, from the time of the predecessors of the path, it has been said, the teaching of a thing borrowed you should listen to 1,000 times and preach 1,000 times. This, I think, through listening to this truth over and over again and telling other people over and over, we can make the truth our own flesh and blood. I would definitely like to pursue and settle the truth of a thing lent, a thing borrowed. Thereby, joy will spring forth from this source of endless joy. At the same time, I would like to think and feel of this blessing daily and truthfully. Looking into Ofudesaki, there are 5 verses containing the word a thing lent, and there is 1 verse containing the word a thing borrowed. Here, I also quote the verses before and after. First, verses containing the word a thing lent in Ofudesaki. This universe is the body of God. Ponder this in all matters. All human bodies are things lent by God. With what thought are you using them? All human bodies are things lent by God. Do you not know the free and unlimited workings of God? Everything in this universe is all by Tsukihi. All human bodies are things lent by Tsukihi. If this truth is known all over the world, no one will remain selfish or greedy. Those living in the high mountains and those living in the low valleys, their souls are all the same. Furthermore, the instruments you use daily are all things lent by Tsukihi. Unaware of this, the thought in the minds of all human beings is that they are the high and the low. By all means, Tsukihi desires to make the truth of this matter clearly understood by the whole world. If only this is clearly understood, the root of rebellion will be cut off. What are you humans thinking of this talk? Your bodies are things lent by Tsukihi, and you are all children of mine. Next, Ofudesaki verses containing the words a thing borrowed and preceding verses. This universe is the body of God. Ponder this in all matters. At this time, as God is openly revealed, I shall teach you any and all things. So long as you remain unknowing that the body is a thing borrowed, you can understand nothing at all. By listing these Ofudesaki verses, there is a thing I was reminded of. The following Ofudesaki verse is the only one verse which appears twice in the book. This universe is the body of God. Ponder this in all matters. Part 3, verse 40 and Part 3, verse 135. Each time it appears just before the first appearance of the verse regarding to a thing lent, a thing borrowed. Also, I think that the following verse takes the same kind of order. Everything in this universe is all by Tsukihi. All human bodies are things lent by Tsukihi. I noticed that the matter regarding the universe and the world is stated first, and then the matter in the human body is stated. This makes me recall the following words of Oyasama. Sasa, because God exists, the world exists. Because the world exists, things exist. Because things exist, your bodies exist. Because your bodies exist, law exists. Although the law exists, to resolve your minds is primary. The Life of Oyasama, Foundress of Tenri-Kyo, Manuscript Edition, page 231. Without the existence of Tsukihi, God the parent, neither the world nor human beings could exist. This I would like to keep in mind. Again, a quote from the teachings of Oyasama, page 23. Reverend Ueda writes, "In God's words, everything in this universe is all by Tsukihi. All human bodies are things slain by Tsukihi. If this truth is known all over the world, no one will remain selfish or greedy. If you understand the truth of a thing borrowed, the mind of mutual help will arise." Osashizu, March 22, 1920. So God tells us, and the teaching of a thing lent, a thing borrowed, does not only pertain to the body alone. Knowing that even the body that we thought was at least our own was truly a thing we borrow from God the Parent would change our mindset itself. Sweeping the dust of selfishness and greed, it creates a sense of modesty and gratitude, and it also evokes the spirit of helping each other. Regarding the verse 45 through 49 of part 13, my interpretations of Ofudesaki annotations are as follows. All human souls are originally the same. The 9 instruments that we use daily, the eyes, ears, mouth, nose, hands, feet, and male or female organ, are all things slain by God. Being the same souls and the borrowed bodies, it will not do to think that there are the high and the low among ourselves. Having the same original souls and being blessed with the bodies lent by God, if we truly become aware that we are all beloved children and brothers and sisters in the eyes of God the Parent, the root of rebellion will be cut off. There is an Osashizu that simply states, the world is a body of God, and your bodies are things lent. Your bodies are all things borrowed from God, hence you are all brothers and sisters. Osashizu around 1888, translated by Google and Y. Also, Osashizu in January 8th, Sasa, you ask each thing. If you fully understand just one thing, it will do fully well. The path of single-heartedness with God may seem a bit difficult. It is not difficult at all. I have not yet explained the path of single-heartedness with God to you. Tenri-O-no-Mikoto is the truth of sincerity revealed since 50 years ago. The basis of Tenri-O-no-Mikoto here at this one place is the single-heartedness with which mankind who did not exist was created. The origin of this teaching is 50 years past. Understand the truth of the origin. She was not a well-known person. She was just an ordinary person on a farm, a woman who knew nothing. She was no one special. But understand well the truth that it was she who taught the ultimate teaching. She never went anywhere to see things, never learned anything in particular. I entered the body of this woman and spread truth. Understand this well. Teach the members of your family. The human body is a thing lent, a thing borrowed. Each way you have used your mind is reflected in this world. You have been born and reborn into this world many times. Each way you have used your mind is shown. When you have the thought what the situation is his, you should settle your mind with Tanno. Everything is reflected in this world. However large your treasure, of what value is it if you suffer from illness? There may be no greater misery. Free and unlimited blessings depend on your mind. Carry this truth with you. There will be a day when blessings will come quickly to your family and to everyone. If you believe this to be true, then come seeking to me. In this Osashizu, I interpret the following fundamental teachings. The name of God of origin, Tenri-O-no-Mikoto, who created human beings where there was no form, appears. God the parent Tenri-O-no-Mikoto entered the body of Oyasama's shrine and spread truth. Here, too, the teaching of a thing lent, a thing borrowed appears first. Each way you have used your mind is reflected in this world is mentioned. You have been born and reborn into this world many times. Free and unlimited blessings depend on your mind. Searching through other Osashi's bywords such as a thing lent, a thing borrowed, those words always or almost always appear in what is called Osasuke Sashizu, though I did not check all of them. According to a Japanese blog titled Aremo Koremo, which is rich in content and easy to understand, Osasuke Sashizu are the Osashizu given to people upon the bestowal of Sasuke before Kakisage was compiled to be handed as unified writings. These Osasuke Sashizu have almost the same sentences as the current Kakisage as the age goes down. Also, just like in Kakisage, the words like now with human beings, the body is a thing lent by God, a thing borrowed, are followed by the words such as the mind alone is yours in Osasuke Sashizu. I read somewhere that the truth of a thing lent, a thing borrowed, and the truth of the mind alone is yours are paired. It was also cited as oneness in two, as I recall. The truth of a thing lent, a thing borrowed, and the 10 aspects of God's complete providence in the human body that continues to this day, since the original creation is something that God fervently desires humans to know, understand, and appreciate. I too, first of all, would like to think of the blessing, appreciate it, and turn it to a source of endless joy. And in order to return for the blessing of a thing lent, a thing borrowed, I would like to make an effort to meet God's expectation by changing the mind that is only mine closer to God's intention and act accordingly. I think that understanding the truth of a thing lent, a thing borrowed is also to understand that the mind alone is ours. You will not understand unless you grasp the literal truth by hearing that the body is a thing borrowed. No matter how much you may practice your faith, you will not understand unless you understand the truth. Osashizu, January 23rd, 1888.